Okay.
All right, hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about the assignment 2 and hypothesis testing. And this is our team. So today's overview is that we're going to talk about the introduction, and there will be several parts for this assignment, and we're just going to talk about it one by one. Let's start with the introduction. So this assignment is assignment 2. It was 30%. We can do it as a group of 1 to 4 people, and grad students then can choose to work on a project instead. So it is still a set your own deadline, and the official deadline is April 14th. It should be a 6 to 10 page report, and it can include everything such as what did you learn from this assignment in terms of the HCI skill, what did you did, and what process did you follow, and what activities you engaged in, why did you do those things, or what novels insight you had, and so many else. But there is only one required section, is that what did I understood better or learned from doing this assignment. So let's start with part 1, which is the write-up and explaining the logic behind the existing experiment. So the first question is, what was the practice goal? And that can be expanded to what was the specific practical improvement that was desired, and how might X people be Y% better off based on your interventions. The second question is, what was the research goal? And it can also be expanded as, what was the generalizable knowledge we are trying to gain? And the second is, what might be an insight that we are most confident in after the study, which can be used by other designers in other contexts. And we are required to build 2 more experimental and independent variable alternative prototype. So a given 2 example prototype, the first one is whether or not message was sent through Quarkus and with an email notification. The second prototype is whether or not students were asked when they would do this week's homework. So we are also required to compare the key differences between the arms and condition might be.
Okay, so in part 2, you're going to move on to data analysis. First, you're given a Python script that you must run to generate 500 data samples. And each data sample is going to represent one student and has 3 values. If the student has received the email, if they attempted the homework, and how many hours before the deadline they started the homework. And just a little note here that you can also edit the script and generate other sample data sets. So there's 2 parts to the analysis. In part 1, you're going to use the obtained data to conduct an analysis comparing the control and treatment groups using similar techniques as discussed in the A2 paper. So here's some graphs from the A2 paper you can draw inspiration from. Here we have a graph showing when students who did and did not receive the email started their homework in relation to when the homework was initially released, when the email was sent out, and when the due date was. Here's another graph that plots out the amount of students who completed the homework over weeks 5 to 8, comparing students who did and did not receive the email. And then here are some table ideas. For example, you could average the results of homework attempts for people who did and did not receive the email, and you can include that in the table. Or you could average the results of start times amongst people who did and didn't receive the emails and include that as well in your table. So within part 2 of the analysis, you're going to be performing a Wald test on your collected data. So you can refer to your week 10 hypothesis testing reading if needed. And you must present an analysis of at least 2 different findings. For example, you could show findings in relation to start times and then findings in relation to attempt rates. And you should also include graphs similar to those in the hypothesis testing reading to aid in your explanation of the logic behind the test. And lastly, you need to explain and interpret your findings.
For part 3, we have prototyping and experimental design. So after we analyze the data in part 2, we can start exploring the ideas for a follow-up experiment. For part 3.1, we want to design experiments that test precisely why an email might be effective. To do so, we want to articulate hypotheses about what the active ingredient is or are, and then we want to propose some control conditions that can get at that active ingredient. And then for this part, there's some example reflection prompts are, why might this reminder email work, and what is the mechanism underlying it? Here we have a example experiment. The active ingredient option A is that any reminder will help, and the hypothesis would be if any reminder at all will help, the dependent variable of completion rate will be identical with both this and the original email. And for option B is that linking people will get them to start. Why? Because it's an easy action to take, but they won't look it up themselves. The hypothesis is that if the link is a key active ingredient, not any of the other features of the email, then the dependent variable of completion rate will be identical for this and the original reminder email. In fact, if this email might have a higher completion rate, if people are more likely to see the link and act upon it. And for part 3.2, we want to iterate the email design. And after designing your experiment based on a specific mechanism within the email content, you can now try to improve on the design of the email. To approach this, you can design alternative versions of the email by reflecting and discussing, conduct interviews to gather insights, and finding papers that highlight or inspire an approach of email design. And then for this part, some example reflection prompts are, what other things do you believe that might work better? Why, for who, and under what circumstances?
Next, we will talk about the fourth part of this assignment, which is deploying and conducting a micro-experiment. For this part, you'll need to send emails to a minimum of 4 people and randomly assign them to one of 2 different conditions. These conditions can either be 1, the alternative experiments that you've previously outlined in the project, or 2, a new experiment that involves using emails and interests you because it aligns with your personal or professional goals. In addition to this, you'll also need to provide a report on the process that you use to send these emails, the research question, hypotheses, dependent outcome variable, and any insights gained from conducting this experiment. So why exactly are we required to do this? The idea for this experiment is to help us prototype and gather data with minimal effort. It improves creativity, the development of experimental ideas, and shows how A/B comparisons can be useful in personal and professional life through a common activity such as sending emails. The fifth portion that you'll need to include in your second assignment is to describe how this project helps you prepare for certain jobs. This can include all the benefits by doing this assignment that will help you in the future career or role, and how this assignment can make you stand out in potential interviews or assessments. If addressing these questions for building personal or professional goals seems difficult to you, there's another option. Picture yourself working at a tech company that runs random experiments. Think about how this task can improve your readiness for your job. How would you analyze, discuss, and evaluate experiments suggested or already carried out by product teams? Can you help analyze experiments or confirm data scientists' analysis through careful questioning? Also, how would you suggest or lead talks on enhancements for the next experiment run? Thank you so much for watching our presentation. Let us know on Discord if you guys have any questions. Bye.